Hi, this is Parish President Cynthia Sheng, and we're marking the 1-year anniversary of Hurricane Ida. I've recently been to Grand Isle, I've recently been to Lafitte, and if we look back at that 1 year, there are two stories, right? We can look at those communities, Upper Jefferson, and say it's amazing how much incredible work has been done by our public teams, by our utility companies, by nonprofits, by church organizations to help us get back on our feet. It's an incredible amount of work that we have done to get those communities to where it doesn't look like we're so broken. On the other hand, we know that homeowners and the work still continues. We know that people are having problems with their insurance claims. We have debris underwater that we need to figure out how we're going to get removed. There are long-standing issues that we will need to tackle. How we're going to demolish some of the structures that maybe insurance isn't going to cover, because we don't want to have these dangerous buildings with us a couple of years from now. So that work is more about coordination among different agencies. Ida had its unique challenges for us. If you look at Grand Isle, the only way I can describe it is if a bomb went off. We had structures in Grand Isle that are no longer there anymore. There's no evidence that a building was ever there. Sand covered the whole island, everything was buried. The water line, the 32-mile water line, and all the platform valves were missing. So we actually had to barge water. A lot of people don't know this, had to barge water into Grand Isle for 3 months. Had to do a connection to Lafitte Parish, had to do all these emergency measures to make sure the island had water. And finally, we were able to lift the boil water advisory, and we were able to get the pipes replaced and the water pressure to a place. And it took us until January of the following year to do that. So amazing work by our water department and our public works department. Going from the south to the north of Jefferson Parish, you take a look at Lafitte. Immediately, search and rescue had to be done in Lafitte. That town and that community was completely inundated with water. When the water subsided, it was completely covered with mud. A very different look from Grand Isle. The swing bridge was destroyed during the storm. Our first responder teams that were so incredible, our firefighters, our police, our EMS staff, going to save people. There were fires during the storm. On the Barataria side, they actually had to put out those fires by boat. The town was so inundated with water, we had to get on by boat on Leo Kerner Parkway. So incredible amount of things that were done to get Lafitte back on its feet. Crown Point, Barataria area, amazing work by, again, our public works staff and all of our mayors, and Mayor Carmodel and Mayor Kerner in those areas. And then we look at Upper Jefferson, what we had to do. A lot of Kenner had their roofs destroyed, and a lot of buildings even in Upper Jefferson had issues, and we still deal with those insurance issues. And really in Upper Jefferson, we were dealing with a water system and a sewer system that was completely decimated. The trees lifting up brought up the pipes, so we had no water pressure. What people don't realize is our sewer system was relying on electricity. We didn't have electricity, so we were really running against time in Upper Jefferson for the water pressure and our sewer systems to get back online before people started coming back to our community. And certainly after the storm, what was unique to Ida was that we had 8 refineries go down in Louisiana, which represented 2/3 of our gas supply for the state. So immediately after the storm, people who knew that it was going to be very uncomfortable to stay here because the grocery stores were closed and there was no air conditioning, were trying to get gas to leave. And that was a new scenario that we had. That brought its own complications. We sheltered people for several weeks in Jefferson Parish. We were able to pick many people up from their houses, or people got dropped off at one of our facilities. We were able to get them to a shelter in Louisiana but outside of our area, and then for several weeks on their return, we had to provide housing to them. Again, that was a unique situation. So all of these things that we're looking at that have happened a year ago, I don't think people realized the magnitude of the response that we had to do for Ida. We as a parish also spent the next months after we were able to kind of get on our feet ourselves, looking at all of our departments and looking at after action Ida reports and what worked well for us and what we could do better. I think I was very proud of the response we had, but we wouldn't do a service to our community if we didn't go through and say what could we improve on that. And we have done that. Certainly coming into this season, we still are doing tabletop exercises, but we will have more fuel out throughout the parish for our people to have. We'll have more, we've identified buildings in the parish that are safe for different types of storms. We'll have our own staff staying throughout buildings. We've changed our food contract. We're looking at our gas, many things that we're improving to be even more ready for this storm season. My message to all of you all is that if we look back at Ida, and I don't think this is going to change, we look back pre-Ida, that Wednesday, all the models were going to Texas. On Thursday, the models had broadened to going from Houston, Texas to Mobile, Alabama. And then by that Friday, it narrowed in on us and went from a Category 2 to a Category 4. We were already too late for the window of contraflow. So with the increased speed of these storms, it's even more imperative for you and your family to have a plan. We're going to give you the best information that we know, and we want you to stay tuned with us and all of the news media outlets during that time, and we're going to push out information as best as we can, but it's only the best information that we have at this time. Storms are coming at us quickly and changing quickly, and it's very dangerous for us, especially those of us in emergency response mode. So we need you to have your own plan. If you are someone who is vulnerable, if you're someone who might be in a sturdy building but can't really be able to live without air conditioning, you need to have your plan to get out, because we know that we lost one person during the storm of Ida, and we lost many more people in what I call a community that is broken until we can put ourselves back together. Carbon monoxide poisoning, or because there were no lights, we had a hit and run, nursing home situation. More deaths happened after the storm had already passed, and you would think the danger had passed, but because society and the community wasn't back to a regular response that we can normally give you. So it's critical that you as a family have your own plan, especially if you're vulnerable and that you really can't live in a society that isn't up to speed yet. You have a plan to get out and get out early. So with that, I want to thank all of the partners, our council offices, our first responders, the sheriff's office, so many people across the board, so many nonprofits, so many churches that came here to help. I still probably don't know the amount of groups that came here to help us get back on our feet. It took a lot to get us where we are today. We still have more work to do, but it's just a time at the anniversary to look back and to really thank everybody, and shows how resilient we are. We are stronger for the things that life has thrown at us that we've been able to survive through. We're a stronger community for it, but we just want to really take the time on the 1-year anniversary to thank everybody who helped us get to where we are today.